Hello. When discussing assisted suicide in Europe, one country almost always appears at the center of the conversation: Switzerland. Switzerland became the first country to institutionalize doctor-assisted suicide in a relatively stable and internationally accessible way. Today, thousands of people, including Swiss citizens and foreigners, associate Switzerland with championing the idea of the right to die. But why Switzerland? Why could such a system emerge and stabilize there, while much of Europe remains politically and ethically divided on this issue? Before we delve into this discussion, it is important to delineate two frequently confused concepts. Euthanasia refers to situations where a doctor or a third party directly inject or administer a lethal substance to the patient, while assisted suicide means that the physician provides the lethal medication, but the patient must perform the final act themselves. It is crucial to note that Switzerland legalized assisted suicide but not active euthanasia. Looking at the statistics of assisted suicide for domestic patients and foreigners from 1994 to 2014, we can see that domestic assisted suicide cases within Switzerland have increased steadily over time. This reflects demographic and cultural changes within Swiss society, including population aging and increasing emphasis on individual autonomy. Foreign participation, often known as suicide tourism, have also increased drastically since the beginning of the 21st century. From the data, we can observe that Switzerland is not simply responding to internal demand, but also catering to demand generated by international reluctance toward legalizing assisted suicide. This leads to the two core questions we're trying to answer today. First, why has Switzerland been able to develop and sustain such a system domestically? And second, how does Switzerland's exclusion from the European Union facilitate this process internationally? Answering this question requires us to analyze both Switzerland's internal socio-economic conditions and the broader structure of European integration. The demand for assisted suicide originates from both domestic and international forces. Domestically, assisted suicide reflects deeper transformations occurring in advanced European societies. Switzerland has a highly aging population and a well-developed healthcare system. However, this creates a paradoxical situation where although modern medicine elongates life, it increasingly extends dependency and deprives autonomy, thereby subjecting patients to decreased life quality and diminished dignity. At the cultural level, Switzerland is also highly politically individualistic. This creates a social environment where end-of-life decisions are increasingly framed as private moral choices rather than ideological level orientations. Foreign demand, however, emerges from a different mechanism. Across Europe, legal and ethical systems remain highly fragmented. Some countries adopt relatively liberal frameworks, while others maintain strong political or historical resistance. As a result, many Europeans possess mobility across borders but not equal access to ethical choices within their own countries. Switzerland therefore became a destination where suppressed demand from across Europe converges. Next, we're going to discuss the second question. How does its exclusion from the European Union facilitate this process? European integration increasingly unifies monetary systems and economic interdependency. This reflects the optimal currency area theory, which argues that integrated economies function more efficiently when barriers between states are removed. However, while Europe is becoming increasingly integrated economically, major divergences still persist in culture, ethics, politics, and legal sovereignty, preventing Europe from becoming a complete optimal currency area. According to the cost of a currency area, economic integration inevitably creates spillover effects beyond economics itself. As mobility and interdependency increase around Europe, ethical and political divergence also become intertwined. However, because assisted suicide regulation is not the same across countries, legal differences drive people to move across border to access systems unavailable domestically. Thereby, Switzerland turns its regulatory differences into market advantages. Switzerland occupies a uniquely advantageous niche within the system. Although economically connected to Europe, Switzerland remains outside the European Union and therefore retains far greater regulatory sovereignty. At the same time, Schengen accessibility still allows continuous cross-border movement into Switzerland. As a result, Switzerland benefits from European integration without being equally constrained by EU political and ethical pressures. At the same time, Switzerland's position may actually limit further commoditization of assisted suicide because it depends on a very delicate balance between integration and independence that no other European countries can replicate. Because Switzerland occupies such an institutional position, the system remains relatively contained rather than universally normalized within Europe. In this sense, Switzerland's assisted suicide model remains a stable niche sustained by the interaction between European integration and Swiss political independence. In conclusion, Switzerland's assisted suicide system emerges from demographic aging, welfare state development, and strong traditions of individual autonomy. At the same time, European integration creates mobility without fully integrating ethical systems. Therefore, Switzerland's exclusion from the European Union allows it to maintain legal sovereignty while also benefiting from European accessibility. Ultimately, the Swiss case reveals a deeper contradiction within Europe itself that resonate with optimal currency area theory, where Europe has successfully integrated markets, mobility, and economics, but not morality. Situated in this asymmetry, demands for assisted suicide does not vanish, but relocates to the niche where such initiatives are most practicable. Thank you.